It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities. But he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced. Purport. It is said in Bhagavad-gita that one can never give up work at any time. Therefore, he who works for Krishna and does not enjoy the fruit of results, who offers everything to Krishna, is actually a renouncer. There are many members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness who work very hard in their office or in the factory or some other place, and whatever they earn, they give to the society. Such highly elevated souls are actually sannyasis and are situated in the renounced order of life. It is clearly outlined here how to renounce the fruits of work and for what purpose fruits should be renounced. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurn Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tathati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prashabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nahi deha prata shakyam chaktum karmanya sheshataha yastu karma palatyagi satyagi tyapidiyate. Dehabrit is the spirit soul who's wearing a material body. Dehabritam, the embodied living being. Shakyam karmanya sheshata, chaktum karmanya sheshata. Asheshataha means completely, with nothing left. Sheshata is something remaining. So asheshata, with nothing left. We may give up some work, but no one can give up all work or all activity. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tistatya karmakrit. No one can stop working, even for a moment. Kshanam means fraction of a second. No one can give up acting. We're breathing. While breathing, we're breathing in so many microbes, therefore the Jains were wearing that gauze. But still, some microbes will get through, some living creatures. We're thinking, we're feeling, we're acting. And no one can stop completely. Asheshata. Therefore, it's hopeless. If someone, there's the idea that my activities are entangling. Everything I do brings some reaction. So if I stop acting, then there are no more reactions. Problem solved. That's the approach. That's called renouncing all activities. First I give up my job, then I give up my this, then I give up my that, then I give up my this. Pretty soon I'm not doing anything. I'm just meditating. Well, meditation is also action. Then still there'll be something that I'm doing. First of all, even giving up my job, my this, my that how long will that last? What is that? Karyate avasha karma. No. Ahi kaschit kshanamapi jatutistat karma krit. Karyate avasha karma. Sarva prakriti jargana. Yeah, that's the name. That by our very embodied nature, we're under control of material nature. The machine goes on. It's not that we say, heart, stop beating, and it'll stop. The yogis can stop their respiration even. They can stop so much, but that's not for the ordinary person, or for even most extraordinary people would have a hard time with that. And still so many things will go on. And for us, we're always busy doing something. We sit down to meditate and we're thinking about our email. So it's not possible. Shakya. Shakya means possible. Nahi deha brita shakya. As long as we have this body, which is a machine controlled by material energy, maybe controlled more by passion, maybe controlled more by goodness, and maybe controlled more by ignorance. There are different combinations, but it's controlled, and it has to act. Even while we're sleeping, our subtle bodies are acting, and even the gross bodies tossing and turning. Stopping action is just not going to work. Yastu karma, therefore in the beginning, the whole chapter starts with that. Tell me about renunciation. Which is the right way to go? Some say renouncing all activities, some say renouncing the fruits of action. And here Krishna will say, Yastu karma pala tyagi sa tyagiti. The person who gives up, tyag means renounces. The person who gives up the results of work, he's actually the renouncer. Karma, sarva karma, well, sarva's not here, but karma palatyag. Karma means work or action or prescribed duties. That seemed to be Prabhupada's favorite translation. Everyone has some prescribed duty. Of course, we give up our prescribed duty and we do so many other things, which are technically vikarma, or unauthorized, or contrary action. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma. But anyway, yastu karma palatyag. When we work or when we perform our prescribed duties, we get something. Usually it's money, or it may be something else. Well, if you're a farmer, you get literal fruits, or vegetables, or grains, or in whatever the field, there's something that we get. That should be renounced. Nirmamo nirahankaras sashantim adhikachati. The person who knows that I'm not this body also knows that nothing is mine. It's not my money, my field, my harvest, my this, my that, my home, my things, my investments, it's Krishna's property. Isha vashamidam sarvam yatkim cha jagajam jagat din taktina punjita agridha kashasvidana. It's Krishna's property, and we're entitled to our share. What's the share? What we need, not more. The whole world is filled with people who will not be satisfied however much they get. But this is the prescribed way, or the way of the wise, is to accept only what we need, and to recognize that even that is not my property. It's Krishna's property. I remember one time I was on a train in India, and trains in India tend to fill up. Not the way a train like Amtrak fills up, where every seat is filled up, but it fills up where every inch is filled up. So, and there are different classes. There's an unreserved car, then there's reserved. So I was in the reserved car. I'd paid for a seat. And the train stops at so many stations, and at one station, more people got in, and more. And one person sat down next to me. And there were already 4 people sitting on the 4 seats. And I was giving him a bit of a hard time, I paid for this seat, and, what are you doing here? And he said to me, Aapka dil kidhar hai? Where's your heart? A very good instruction, because I'm a big shot, and I've paid, however many rupees. This is my territory, and no one else is entitled. But from a better point of view, we all have to get there, and nothing is really mine, and here's a person who needs a seat, and I can give a little space, and come on, why should you not? Oh, it's a different way of looking at the world. The one way is I'm entitled because I've got a piece of paper that says it's mine. And the other way is that it's all Krishna's, and everyone's entitled to what they need. Everyone's entitled to a quota. Not necessarily the quota assigned by Indian Railways, but a quota. Because sometime also I may be the person who doesn't have a reservation, and I'll hope that he'll, whoever it may be, will give me an inch or two on the bench there. Because everything is Krishna's, and we all belong to Krishna. We all belong to Krishna. So one should not aspire to get more. So yastu karma palatyagi. So karma pal means literally the fruit of work, or what we get, what we earn by our work. And tyagi is a person who gives it up. But what is that giving up? It's not just tossing it. That's a kind of renunciation. It's mentioned in the 12th chapter. Let's see. I put that book somewhere. Yeah. In 12. 12, thank you. 11 actually is where I'm thinking. But it's in 12 too. Sarva karma palatyaga tatak. Oh, yes. Sarva karma palatyaga, that's the one with the sarva in it. That Krishna recommends that this is also good. Giving up the results of work. But what kind of giving up? Well, if you give to Goodwill, or you give to the Red Cross, or you give to your favorite university, or you give for a hospital, or you give for the policeman's benevolent association, or whatever it is that you're giving for, that's sarva karma palatyaga. That's karma palatyaga. You're giving up the results of your work for some other cause, someone else's benefit. So that's recommended. Very good. Rather than holding on to it. This is mine. This is mine. Like children, it's mine. Is that the first word a child learns after mommy? It's mine. Rather than holding on to everything, mine. Yes, I can share this. I can give this for the benefit of others. But that's not the best giving up. Best giving up is described in the beginning. Well, it's a progression. Mayeva mana adhatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya. Just fix your mind on me and fix your intelligence on me. Nivasishyasi mayeva aturdvam nasangshaya. And undoubtedly you'll come to me, Krishna says. That's the best thing, to throw oneself completely at the lotus feet of Krishna. But then Krishna says, Atat chittam samadhatam nashaknosi mayistiram abhyasa yogena tato mamischaptam dhananjaya. Suppose we're not ready to just give our life to Krishna, full-hearted concentration and one-pointed attention. Then Krishna says, practice. Take up the practice of bhakti yoga. Abhyas means practice. There's so many practices that will help us. There's the spontaneous stage, and if we're not on that spontaneous stage, then no need to fake it. Practice. That will also be good, because by practicing we'll develop the desire. Yes, let me serve Krishna. It will become spontaneous. There are two stages of devotional service. There's devotional service in practice, and then spontaneous devotional service. So if we're not on the spontaneous stage, we can practice, and then we may come to that stage. So that's the next thing. Then, abhyase pyasasat, what is that? Abhyase pyasamartosi mat karma padamobala. If you can't practice, then mat karma padamobala. Then work for me. Work for me. And there are many people who do that. They may not chant regularly. They may not follow all of the principles prescribed by the scriptures or by the spiritual master, but they like to serve. They like to serve. They'll help with the electrical work. They'll help with your internet site. They'll help with the accounting. They'll help with cleaning the floor. They'll help with stringing garlands. They'll help some way or other. Is there something I can do? And that's very good. Mat karma padamobala. Just work for me. Because then we'll come to the stage, all right, now let me start practicing. Then let me spontaneously, automatically, there's not let me, but spontaneously it will come. Yes, madartam api karmani kurvan siddhim avachati. By working for me, you'll attain perfection. Step by step. Then, ataitad apyashaktosi kartum madhyogam ashrita. Suppose you can't even do that. We can't really put ourselves, maybe there's a family problem and the relatives will say, or whatever, for whatever reason, we can't really work for Krishna. Then Krishna says, sarva karma palatyaga, tata kuru yatatmava. Then give up the results of work to any good charity. Any good charity. Then, verse 12, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnanad dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma palatyagas jagat chantir anantar. There's a progression that's mentioned here. And Prabhupada emphasizes that the point is to come to the stage of loving Krishna and always thinking of Krishna. That's the point. But so sarva karma palatyaga, just giving up for any good cause, is also progressive. Instead of holding on, we give up. And that's often the picture of the renounced person. It's just that he doesn't need anything, he gives up everything. It's no possessions, niskinchana, nothing is his. And that's good. But it's not the highest stage or the most recommended stage. And it's even sometimes criticized because you're giving up, but without knowing that it's Krishna's. Sometimes prapanchikataya budhya hari sambandhi vastan. We give it up thinking this is all material. I don't want to be dragged down by this material stuff. I'm going to give it all away. Well, that's better than this stuff is great, giving it away. But they think, sometimes we think, oh, this is all material. And Rupa Goswami says, no, it's not material. Hari sambandhi vastan. It has a relationship with Krishna. It's Krishna's stuff. It's Krishna's energy. Hari sambandhi vastan. So mumukshubhi, simply because I want freedom, I want liberation, so I think, let me get free of all these things, material things. Parityago, giving it up. Srila Rupa Goswami says, Varagyam balgu kachate. This is dry renunciation. There's a river in India it's found in Gaya, Balgunadi. It's a river, but actually if you go to that river, it's basically sand, and there's some water in, a little sort of filling up the sand. So it's called Balgunadi. It's a dry river. Balgunadi. So this is dry renunciation. Why? Because we're not seeing that it's Krishna's property. We're just seeing it as material. That means disconnecting it from Krishna. Or not seeing the connection with Krishna. Just saying, oh, this material stuff. But no, it's Krishna's stuff. Therefore, Prabhupada tells of a person who finds like a wallet in the street or in a room. So if he takes the wallet and puts it in his pocket, he's a thief. It's not his property, but he's claiming it or appropriating it for his own, as his own. So he's a thief. And the person who just leaves it there is a fool, because someone else is going to pick it up. And he's just leaving this item there. But the intelligent person is the person who thinks, holds it up, whose wallet is this? or he finds out whose wallet it is and gives it to the owner. Well, that's the right way to go. Not to claim it as mine, and not just to toss it to the breeze, but to find the owner and return it. He's the honest person. So Krishna is the Sarva Loka Maheshwara. He's the owner of everything. All the planetary systems belong to Krishna. All the universes belong to Krishna. All the energy that is belongs to Krishna. It's all Krishna's energy. So, Krishna's energy should be used for Krishna's service. Then the so-called material energy becomes spiritualized. When we, just like you take an iron rod, you put it in the fire, it becomes fiery. We take Krishna's energy and offer it back to Krishna, it becomes spiritualized. The same thing that's material, like this microphone. That was Prabhupada's favorite example because he was always using one. Microphone or the tape recorder, those were the two, dictaphone. So this microphone is nothing but material energy. It's metal and plastic and all of that. You'd say, well, this is a perfect example of a material thing. It has no life. It's just a thing. But Prabhupada saw that this thing was Krishna's energy, and it could be used for Krishna's purpose. It could be diverted. One could sit here, speaking about some rubbish or singing something mad, mundane. But it can be used for speaking Krishna's message. Then the so-called material thing regains its spiritual quality. Brahmarpanam brahmahavir brahmagno brahmanahutam brahmaivatena gantavyam brahmakarma samadhina. Krishna says that when there's, suppose, a sacrifice, you perform just like we do an initiation ceremony, we have a fire and pour ghee and grains into the fire. So that fire represents Krishna. And the clarified butter poured into the fire is also now spiritual. The fire is spiritual, it represents Krishna. Now the offerings in the fire, the grains, the butter, they're spiritual. Brahmanahutam, whatever's offered there is spiritual. And even the person who's offering, now he's becoming spiritualized. So this is a yajna, a sacrifice. In the modern, in Kali Yuga, the kirtan yajna, sankirtan, is recommended. So in the sankirtan yajna, again, everything is offered to Krishna. Union Square is offered to Krishna. At least that little corner is offered to Krishna. And so it regains its transcendental quality. It's just a place where people would be drinking or hanging out. Now it's become a place, well, like a temple. And the activities are all now spiritual activities. Books are going out. People are hearing the holy name. And the people who are chanting, or even the people who are hearing, they're regaining their spiritual qualities, spiritual nature. They're reviving their spiritual identity. Brahma karma samadhina. So everything becomes re-spiritualized. And Prabhupada said this is the process of Krishna consciousness, to re-spiritualize everything. Well, Prabhupada gave the example, we have this place. And next door they have another place. So what's the difference between this one and that one? That one's dedicated to sense gratification, to getting money, to use the money to enjoy. And this place is dedicated to Krishna. So here everything becomes spiritualized. I mean, so much so that people all over the world worship this little corner here. They think in ecstasy about 26 2nd Avenue. Why? It's just, there's 26, there's 28, there's, what's 26? But because Prabhupada came here and used this space for glorifying Krishna, it's become a place of pilgrimage. It's become a place of pilgrimage. So it's regained its spiritual nature. Next door could regain its spiritual nature also. If they also chanted Hare Krishna and knock out a wall or something, or just separately, or like down the block, or over a block away, and another building. Now they're using it for glorifying Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna. It's regained its spiritual quality. The whole Lower East Side could regain it. The whole New York, the whole world. By this simple method, chant Hare Krishna, speak something about Krishna, hear something about Krishna, offer something to Krishna, accept prasadam, and everything revives its spiritual nature. And this, Prabhupada said, is renunciation. This is renunciation, the best renunciation. Anasaktasya vishayan yatarha upayunjita nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya mujjate. Srila Rupa Goswami says. Anasaktasya vishayan. To use everything, yatarham upayunjita. To engage everything as it should be engaged for Krishna's service. Anasaktasya vishaya, without attachment for sense gratification. Anasakta, not attached. It's like a bank teller. A bank teller doesn't look greedily on your deposit. What's it to her or him, whether you deposit $20 or $20,000? It's not his money, and it doesn't make a difference. However much you put in, he's not, or take out. He doesn't care if you make a deposit or a withdrawal. You can withdraw $20,000 and he doesn't think, oh my goodness. Because it's not, he knows it's not my money. It doesn't affect me. I just have my duty to perform here. I put it in, I take it out, whatever my duty, that's what I do. Anasaktasya. Knowing that it's not mine and there's nothing for me to be attached to here. Nirbandha Krishna sambandhe. So the Krishna conscious person acts in that spirit without attachment, and knowing that everything has sambandha. Sambandha means a relationship with Krishna. The things, there was an article published someplace, or else I heard it from an early devotee, that here at 26 Second Avenue one time, Hayagriva Prabhu, one of our early devotees, sort of moved a clock, I think it was, or something, with his foot. Prabhupada said, you shouldn't use your foot for that. And he said, do you mean to say that this clock is holier than my foot? But Prabhupada instructed that it's Krishna's property. And therefore we don't treat anything like it's negligible. Everything belongs to Krishna. Therefore we saw that Prabhupada, when he picked something up or put something down, or everything was done with care. Everything was done with care, because I'm dealing with Krishna's property. It could be a check for thousands of dollars, or it could be a postage stamp. And Prabhupada would deal with it with attention, with care, because it's Krishna's property. It's like a servant. If he's the servant of the king, then he knows this is the king's property, and therefore I have to take care of it, even better than I would take care of my own thing. It's the king's. The deity worship at home or in the temple is meant to train us in that mentality. We worship the deity thinking, this is Krishna's dress, this is Krishna's plate, this is Krishna's ornament, this is Krishna's whatever it is. Whatever it is, we think this is Krishna's. And therefore we're very careful with these things because they're Krishna's things. And that by training, by practice, that extends. So we start to think, well, the altar is Krishna. Actually, the building is Krishna's, whether it's a temple or it's my house. Well, and I'm Krishna's, and then my family members are also Krishna's, and the money is Krishna's, and the food is Krishna's. Arpilu Tuapade Nandakishore. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings. Manasa Deha Geha Yoki Chumor. Arpilu Tuapade Nandakishore. What do we have? Well, we have our minds. That's something. Maybe not much, but it's something. And we have our bodies. And we have our homes. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, my mind, my body, my home, yo kichumur, whatever little thing I have, arpilu tuapade, I offer at your lotus feet. Nanda Kishore, Krishna. This is pure Krishna consciousness. Everything is Krishna's, and I'm the servant of Krishna. The servant can also live very nicely. The servant of the king eats the same food as the king, lives in the same palace, he's protected by the same army, he's well set up, as long as he remembers that he's the servant. As soon as he starts to think, well, the king won't miss this, then he's a thief. Or if he thinks, well, I could be the king, and he's really got a bad case of it. But as long as he has that understanding that I'm the servant, then he's valued by the king so much. Even we hear sometimes that, at least in India, generally any well-to-do person doesn't drive a car, he's got a driver. And very often we find that the man will impart to his driver secrets that he wouldn't tell to his wife. The driver becomes his intimate confidant. There's an intimate relationship between the man and his driver. Because the driver is in that mood of being the servant. So the devotee, the natural mood, eternal, Prabhupada calls it the eternal serving mood. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, eternal serving mood. Welcome. This is the eternal mood of the living being. Right now we've picked up some other mood, that this is mine, and this is mine, and this is mine. Or we've just forgotten. And everybody, of course, is claiming that there's two or more claimants for everything. Competition. Or I claim it today, you claim it tomorrow. Belongs to whoever's occupying the land. Then somebody comes and kicks him off. Now it's mine. You kick him off. Now it's mine. Well, these are all false claims because finally the fire comes and says it's mine. This very body that I say, well, it's mine. You analyze it. Well, you're working 8 hours a day, and during those 8 hours it belongs to your boss. Or as a child, the body belongs to the parents. And finally, the body is claimed by the fire. If we practice cremation, otherwise it's claimed by the worms, otherwise it's claimed by the eagles, although I think they've stopped that now. Some ecological problem actually in Bombay. But anyway, it's claimed by death. And then this body I'm claiming it's mine, gone. I have to go to a new body. So, in that sense, what am I giving up? It's not mine to begin with. I'm thinking it's mine, I'm claiming it's mine, but it's not mine. I'm under the illusion that it's mine. And I don't want to let go. You know, like, suppose I'm somehow have the idea that your bank account is mine. It doesn't really help me, because even now I can't get into it and all that. I'm just under the illusion. You know, I've got another $40,000. You know, it's in this account, which is actually my account. It's cuckoo. I don't own any of that. So if I renounce that account, what have I lost? It wasn't mine to begin with. Like, just like Prabhupada said, if you say, I renounce this Bank of America. When was it yours? But I renounce this Bank of America. Well, great. High renunciation. Actually, everything is like that. Whatever I'm claiming is mine is not really mine. I have some claim over it for some short time, and then I have to relinquish it. But in that short space, I'm intensely attached to it, and I'm claiming that it's mine because I think I can enjoy it. And we do that individually, corporately, nationally, various groups. This is ours. You get out. This is ours. But it's not. So the person in pure Krishna consciousness sees everything is Krishna's. And therefore, when he renounces, he's not really renouncing anything. First of all, anything that he could enjoy. What is it in Bhagavad-gita? Yehi samsparshajad bhoga dukkha yoni. That'll do. I'm not sure if that's the verse I had in mind, but anyway, the thing that we want to enjoy becomes the source of suffering. When I want to enjoy something, it actually becomes true. You know, just like you buy a house to enjoy, but then you have to pay for the mortgage, you have to pay for the insurance, you have to pay for the electrical bill, the water bill, the repairs, the gardener, the lawsuit because somebody tripped and fell on your step. There's so many anxieties and problems associated with my ownership of that house. And sometimes it's reclaimed by the bank, or I just have to leave for one reason or another. My wife wants to move to California, and what can I do? We become entangled with the things that we want to enjoy. It becomes even if you think, no, it's not a problem, you're talking about some weird case, but when I bought a house, I had it for my whole life, and it was all paid off within no time, and the electricity was a pittance, and the water bills were easily affordable, and the repairs were hardly a problem, and I was happy there. Great. But I can't stay there forever, and my attachment to this thing becomes the source of my next body. Because I'm attached to New York City, or to a particular house, or to a particular possession, that attachment stays in the mind, and it's that attachment in the mind that pulls me to the next body. Those desires, those attachments pull me to the next body. And the next body means more suffering. Any body means suffering. And having to go through one after another, after another, after another, in who knows which species of life for how long, that's suffering. So even if I say, no, this thing has brought me happiness, but it ends up trouble. Therefore, the person who gives up is not really giving up anything except his miseries. Janaki Pandit says very nicely that if a person gives up the temporary for the eternal, he doesn't lose anything. Because he was going to lose the temporary anyway. And now he's gained the permanent. So if a person gives up the temporary for the eternal, he's the eternal gainer. And if a person gives up the eternal for the temporary, then he loses both ways. The eternal because he gave it up, and the temporary because it'll be lost. But if he gives up the temporary for the eternal, what he gave up was going to be lost anyway. So he gave up what he wasn't going to be able to hold on to, and he's got something which is the most valuable, the most precious. So who's intelligent? The person who holds on or the person who gives up? So here Krishna says, this is the actual renouncer, the person who doesn't give up his duty or his work, but who gives up the results of the work, especially for serving him. And why don't I stop there and see what happens? Are there some questions? Yes.
Well, thank you, Maharaj, for coming and speaking. Right? So what would be the right attitude to have a genuine renunciation? Because I have tried myself and I completely failed. I mean, especially when I went to India, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to try renunciation and it's going to be easy. You know? And the more that I try, the more that I seem to want things. And when I was almost time to come back to New York, I was like desperate for New York things. So obviously that was all renunciation I was trying. So what would be the right attitude, or what should someone like me do to have a genuine renunciation in a way that is workable?
What's the way for someone like you to have a genuine renunciation in a way that's workable? You have some duty to perform, some work. What's your work?
Salesperson. I'm a salesperson.
Sales. You're in sales. So you have a job in sales. So Krishna doesn't say, get out of sales no matter what. Sales is Maya. No. You're a salesman, sell. Just as Arjuna is a fighter, he should fight. Everyone has some work to perform. So Krishna says, don't give up your work. It's not even possible, and you found that out. You tried to give up your work and you wound up back at work. So Krishna says, don't give up your work. Do that. But give the result to me. You're selling, you're getting some profit. Use some you need to live, of course, but use that profit for serving Krishna. You have some time, all right. During work time, you belong to the boss, but you have more time than that. These days, where everyone has a computer station, there's a lot of time that the boss doesn't get because everybody is doing something else. So use your time for Krishna. Whatever extra time you have, or whatever spare time, whatever moment, use that for Krishna. And then you'll start to think, like a person's going to work, and then he's thinking work is very good because I get money, and money on the weekend I can enjoy. So he's thinking about the weekend, or he's thinking about, whatever it is that he's invested in. So if you invest in Krishna's service, while working, you'll think of Krishna. That my paycheck comes on Friday, and I'm going to buy flowers for the deities, or I'm going to feed the devotees, or I'm going to do something. So it starts to permeate your consciousness, even while you're working. then while working apart from that, you can take up the practices of Krishna consciousness, so chanting, hearing, associating with devotees. So then what happens? Your life becomes spiritualized in a practical fashion. It doesn't mean you have to go off to the Himalayas or even off to Mayapur. Stay in New York City, but use the results of your work for Krishna. Use your intelligence for Krishna, your skill, whatever it is that you have. And there's a verse that says your money, your words, your artai, pranaya, your mind, your intelligence, your words or your money. Like that. Yeah, your life, your mind, your words or your money. Or all of them. You have some money, use it for Krishna. You have a speaking ability. Let's say you don't have any money, but you can speak. Speak about Krishna. Your mind, think of Krishna. And your life, it's yours. You can dedicate it to Krishna. It's actually Krishna's. You can rededicate it to Krishna. Is that okay? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. You mentioned that attachment to things can become the source of our next body. And I was thinking, what about attachment to people? Like
that can become the source of our next body also.
Members or people who are far away, like our family members are far away, or someone who has left their body, and our mind, we're thinking of them.
Yeah, we're thinking of our family members, our wife, our husband, our children, our parents, our cousins. As long as our attachment is directed toward them, still we have some material connection. An example that I remembered, I read it once in somewhere. There was a plane crash, as there are from time to time, and the plane is losing altitude, and the pilot's trying this and trying that and trying this and trying that, and nothing's working, and it's like clear the plane is just going to crash. I love you, Mom. That means he thinks of his mother at the time of death. So he goes to where his mother is, or he becomes a woman in his next life. He could have said, I love you, Krishna, and gone back to Krishna. Instead, back to Mom. Or maybe he becomes a mom in the next life. So finally, after all, these people we're going to be detached from. As you said, some have already left. The rest will also leave, or I'll leave. So it's described in the Bhagavatam. What are these family relationships? It's like stuff flotsam on the water, and the stuff floats together, and it forms a little clump, and it floats and it floats and it floats, and then it floats apart. And that's how it is. We're together as a family, as friends for, let's say 100 years. What is 100 years? The one day of Brahma is 4,300,000 times 1,000 of our years. It's just a moment in eternal time, this 100 years. So we're like that, we're family. I saw the end of a Walt Disney movie on an airplane a long time ago. And, plot. And at the end there was this like vignette where the mother is there, the father is there, the little girl is there, and they're a family. And the Disney music plays, and there's a slow pan or a slow fade out or whatever it was. And, a family. And for some people, that's like the ultimate, this is what we live for. We live for family. It's not about me, it's family. But the family is just the extension of my false identification with this body. Who are my family? This one's related to my body as a mother. This one's related to my body as a father. This one's related as a child. This one's related as a husband or wife. It's all on the basis of this body, which has nothing to do ultimately with me. Any more than like this hoodie has anything to do with me eternally. Someone gave it to me, I'll wear it. Devamrita Swami, in fact, gave it to me. I'll wear it for some time. But finally it will be gone. And I will continue to exist. So it's like that with our families also. Or another example given in Bhagavatam, especially there's an inn. I think of the old, Chaucerian picture. Anyway, there's an inn, and there are all these travelers who, at the end of the day, come together from different directions on their journey, and they spend the night in the inn, and maybe they tell all sorts of tales for Chaucer to write down, or whatever. They exchange stories, and they drink together and eat together, and they're sort of friends and comrades for a night. Then they all go to sleep, and the next morning they all head out in different directions. So that's, again, our family life. We all come together. We're traveling throughout the universe in different lifetimes, in different bodies, and struggling and like tossing here and there, or journeying from one species of life to the next. And when we all come together as a family or a nation or what have you, and then we get off on in our coaches or our horses, and we ride off in different directions. So it has no permanent connection with me. I think it does. I may be totally committed to it. This is my life, my family, but it will be gone. Therefore, finally one has to give up even family attachment. One has to give up family attachment. How is that? By transferring the attachment to Krishna. We have to be attached. But better to be attached to Krishna's family, because that relationship is eternal. That's my real relationship. Doesn't mean that, like, get out of here, kid. You call yourself my son, but get out of here. What do I care about you? You're just a needless attachment. It's not like that. But always that overriding consciousness is there. This son has been given to me for some time to take care of as my duty. Naturally, there'll be some attachment, but really, the attachment is to Krishna. Yes?
Thank you for your input, and the reading was great. I have a question about the first part of the reading, how we can't give up all work.
Mm-hmm.
I find myself questioning this a lot, and other people probably question this. And it's interesting to know that Krishna was Arjuna's charioteer, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were basically ready for war, and I think of that was their work at the moment,
mm-hmm.
what their function was.
Mm-hmm.
This battle between families, and sort of who would carry on the message, and the winners would do that. And sometimes, I guess, work includes things that we can do that might, be more harmful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe buying clothes from a company that uses their work or somewhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we don't see that. And it's we try to gauge, I guess, the work, the function of what we do, in a way to, limit and stop it.
Right.
So, what's good advice for, how we can analyze that,
Mm.
and how we can delineate, this is work that I should stop, because as opposed to work that I should do, or functions that I should continue?
There are two answers. One answer is that what we should do is directed by Vedic knowledge, Vedic literature. It advises us. Here's what you should do. If you're in administration, you should act like this. If you're in education, you should act like that. If you're in business, you should act like this. If you're in ordinary service, you should act like that. The different duties that we should best adopt. That's one answer. Another answer is that Krishna says, right in this chapter, in fact, any duty you take, there'll be problems. Every duty will have some fault. Doshvadityeke. Let's see. It's in fact a major theme in the beginning of this chapter. You can find it, Murli, if you look. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll find it quick in the Finder book. There it is, third verse. Chajam doshavad ityeke karma prahur manishina. That every kind of work has a problem with it. If you're a businessman, you have to say, well, because you're the first customer of my day, I'm giving you a special discount. You know, it's this ordinary price you charge everyone else, and you've already had 7 other customers. But you say, because you're my first customer of the day. Well, that's business. You have to do that. Or if you're a priest, sometimes you have to perform your priestly duties for people who are not very straight. You know, maybe who knows what kind of mafioso kind of guy he is, but you know, you're the priest, you have to do this. Or in the Vedic times, there were animal sacrifices, which not the nicest business, but that was part of what the priest would do. So if you try to switch from being a businessman because there's dishonesty to being a priest, well, you get involved in the problems that the priest has in his work. Well, then you say, well, I'll become a judge. Well, a judge sometimes, you know, has to deal with unhappy things. He has to sentence his a friend even to punishment or what have you. You become a farmer. There'll be problems with that. You become a servant. You'll have to carry out orders from someone who's not very nice, who has, you know, what should we say, bad intentions. You become a military man. You get stuck in a position like Arjuna's, where you have to fight against your family members. There's no pure work. That's the point. No pure occupation where we say, okay, I'm giving this up because it's crooked. I'm going to live a pure life, a pure job, and no. It's always going to have problems with it. Always. Doesn't matter what it is. When you finally get to the bottom of it, when you finally get there, you're going to find that you have to compromise, that you have to do things that are not very pleasing or admirable. It's just the nature of the beast. Every work has some problem with it. You're in business, you're going to be in competition. You're taking food out of somebody else's mouth, as it were. You're making life harder for some other person. Is that why you're in business, to make life hard for other people? No, but it comes with the territory. If you made the sale, he didn't. So every kind of work has some fault in it. So then we say, well, I'm going to give up all work. Well, we can't. Then Krishna says, then give up the result to me. Perform charity, perform sacrifice. Purify the work, not by making it the most absolute paragon of morality imaginable, but by offering the result to me. Now, of course, we try to, do everything and as far as possible straight, but there'll always be discrepancies, and therefore it should be offered to Krishna. Then it becomes pure. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Something else? Yes.
I hear something on the topic of, you see with two questions, the question of false renunciation comes up. You spoke how the family, okay, I understand. Queen Kunti prayed, let my attachment go just to Krishna instead of my family members who happen to be pure devotees. But the fact is, reality is, I have these feelings, very strong feelings for my family. So I can think of, well, I have to renounce, but that doesn't make the feelings go away. So what do I do about that? And how do I understand, am I falsely renouncing or am I not falsely?
Therefore, the feeling has to be more toward Krishna. If I just say, I'm going to cut off my affection for this person, how was it that Kunti was able to say, let my affection for my family be cut off? Why did she say that? Was she just like a witch, or No, it's because she had such intense attachment to Krishna that she didn't want anything else to get in the way of it. So it's not that, somehow or other, this is how we advance in spiritual life. I start I'm cold to my brother, I'm cold to my sister, I'm cold to my mom, I'm cold to everybody, and I go from cold to mean, and from mean to whatever's past that. No. I develop my love for Krishna. And when I develop my love for Krishna, then that materially motivated attachment becomes automatically starts to dissipate. And if there's attachment left, it comes into relationship with Krishna, just like Vidura. Vidura was a self-realized devotee, and his brother was Dhritarashtra, who's the bad guy, who's the blind king who's responsible for the entire Kurukshetra war because of his attachment and foolishness. So he was the brother of, they were brothers, Vidura and Dhritarashtra. And after the battle, Vidura had gone on pilgrimage, although he was the prime minister for the king. He'd been insulted, and he went on pilgrimage and then left. When he came back, the battle was over, and most of the dynasty had been killed. But Dhritarashtra was still living in the house of Yudhisthira, thinking that, well, here's security. So he was living, as it were, like a dog, just taking the scraps given to him by the people he tried to steal everything from. No sense of self-worth, self-respect, or anything. So Vidura came to him at the end and advised him to get out. And he told him all these things. You're just living like a dog. Your body is worn out like an old rag, and your teeth are rotting. Your liver's gone bad. You're blind since the beginning. Just shot his whole idea of who he was to bits, and persuaded him that you should leave home. And it's not too late. You can still attain spiritual perfection. Why did Vidura go through? He had no need to come back to Hastinapur, to the palace. He'd be welcome anywhere in the world. So it was out of affection for his brother, but the affection wasn't, brother! You mean so much to me, and all that, you can call it, schmaltz is a good New York term. All that sentimentality. No, you're living like a dog, and I've come to pull you out. That's real affection. If we have real affection for our family members, we want them to become Krishna conscious. No one should become a father, no one should become a mother, no one should become a husband, no one should become a king, no one should become anything, unless he can save the people for whom he's responsible from the clutches of birth and death. This is the statement of Bhagavatam. That's the real affection. Affection is not just love and kisses and gifts beneath the Christmas tree. Real love is wanting to see that that person comes to Krishna. That's real love. So when the connection is through Krishna, it becomes purified. Even then, one is still recommended that at the end of life, get out of family life entirely, because still even when it's in connection with Krishna, some attachment will be there. You don't want to come back and have to be stuck here because of you thought of Aunt Susie at the time of death. Yes.
Isn't the family supposed to be given to you by Krishna? So
Yes.
those experiences and challenges would finally bring you to Krishna.
Yes,
And
that
then you
also.
can bring them also.
At the end, you think, oh my God, I never want to do this again.
And then the association that you have with people that you choose to be associated with is also Krishna,
Everything's
association,
given.
so-
Everything's given by Krishna.
Right.
So whatever association we have, including our family, it's all given by Krishna.
Right.
But now, how do I act? Well, there's a system, varnashram, in which, in the beginning, at a certain time in our life, family life is accepted and recommended that you get together, husband and wife and family members, and you practice Krishna consciousness together, you chant together, you read Bhagavad-gita together, you serve Krishna together, and that's all recommended. Keep your consciousness on Krishna, but in the context of the family that, as you say, Krishna has given you.
Mm-hmm.
Then in old age, the recommendation changes. Are you going to stay stuck in this hole forever? Attached to this, your comfortable digs, your comfortable flat, or comfortable or uncomfortable, attached to that, and this old worn out person that you're married to, and under illusion, have this sort of giddy happiness of bouncing your grandchildren on your knees, and is that how you're going to spend the rest of your days? Just absorbed in those things and going, okay, we're going to this marriage and this graduation and this baby shower and all this kind of stuff. Or, because time is running out, there's not much sand left in that hourglass. Do I now really focus on getting out of this material world and going back to Godhead? Because I'm going to be, that sand running low means when it runs out, it's all going to be gone anyway. So now's the time for for real detachment. In family life, there's attachment. It can be connected with Krishna. But in the mature stage, now it's time to become really detached and focused, because we have to go. Okay?
Final merge. The final merging.
Yes, the final merging of this body with the material elements, and the merging of the soul into the spiritual world, where he has his eternal activities of devotional service. Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
You were talking about how things become spiritual. We can spiritualize things, just as, Srila Prabhupada spiritualized that tree in Thompson Square with all of the the association going around the tree, and we spiritualize our bodies, right, with the practice, and our homes become spiritualized with the altar and whatever else we do, right? So I was wondering if you've read anything on if it's even possible can you spiritualize the subtle body?
Oh yes,
In
absolutely.
terms of, and I'm just asking that, in terms of, just like dreaming, but
We must.
more like lucid, because sometimes you chant, you eat prasadam, and going places I don't want to be. You wake up disturbed. There's a lot of disturbance there. So I'm just wondering if there's some kind of something maybe that you've read.
Well, the subtle body means, first of all, how do we spiritualize the subtle body? So the subtle body means the mind, the intelligence, and the sense of who we are. So the mind can be engaged in thinking of Krishna. Intelligence can be busy planning how to do something for Krishna, how to pull something off, how to accomplish something, what best to do, what best not to do. Trying to understand the philosophy. Intelligence can be busy. And my sense of self can be transferred, that I'm not this body, I'm eternal servant of Krishna. In this way, the subtle body is becoming purified, where it's said someplace that it's practically the material substance of the subtle body is being dissolved, right? So what you're left with really is a spiritually surcharged subtle body. It's possible. And then even sometimes you'll see that the content of your dreams changes. I remember waking up one time in the ashram at Henry Street, and all the brahmacharis were sleeping in one big hall. I got up in the middle of the night, sort of stirring a little bit in the middle of the night, and you hear what's going on. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And the devotees are chanting Hare Krishna in their sleep. Prabhupada gave the example that he had an uncle, I believe it was, who was in the cloth business. So during the day, he's, quoting, the price of cloth, this kind of cloth, that kind of cloth. And then while sleeping, he was quoting the price of cloth. So when we engage our mind, intelligence, everything in Krishna's service while we're awake, even then while sleeping. And I know it's not like, still this other stuff creeps in there and we're not in control because we're asleep.
Yeah, no,
but it's gradually a purifying process.
I was just going to say that I was listening to the Krishna book, and there was a part where they were saying that, the gopis were doing certain prayers to protect baby Krishna, and even like in his dreams and all of that. So I was just wondering if there's those kind of things out there, other than
There's no other than this is the thing. Don't go looking for something else. There's nothing better than this. Chant Hare Krishna. But I'll tell you, for example, it's kind of one of my favorite spots in third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where the life of Manu is described. Manu's like a mega king in the universe. And it's described that while taking rest, while going to sleep, he would hear about the pastimes of Krishna. The king has as many people as he needs to do whatever. So he engaged them to speak about the activities of Krishna, or I think there was music or something like that. You can picture the king, he's dozing off and he's hearing the glories of Krishna. So devotees do that. They'll play, the Krishna book or the kirtan or something like that. So while drifting off, it's a good way to go into the land of sleep with Krishna's glories. In the morning we wake up and we run off to Mangalarti, or in one way or another we have our Krishna conscious activities. And then if you ended up the same way in the evening, Krishna activities, and those remaining hours will also be Krishnized. Something else? Thank you. I think we're out of time. Am I right?
It's about the time.
About the time. So we'll stop here. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. I should say, I should plug my book. I've written a book. There's one copy here. Only one. But anyone who would like it, it's called Vanity Karma, Bhagavad-gita, Ecclesiastes, the Bhagavad-gita, and the Meaning of Life. It's a full-length commentary on a very interesting philosophical, biblical book, presenting Krishna conscious understandings very directly in a sort of dialogue with this very interesting biblical book. So you would like this book. Okay, it's reserved for you. There,
Auction.
no, I'm not going to. It is available on Amazon.com in ebooks or physical copies, and it's available at most of our centers. It'll even be available here after Atma Prabhu reorders it, and it has it back in stock.
We'll talk to Sasha. He'll reorder for us.
Okay, we'll talk to Sasha. Our people will talk to your people. Okay. Or next time I come, I can bring more copies. I haven't brought one, which was negligent of me. Okay. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Would you like to lead the kirtan?
Would I like to lead the kirtan? Yeah, okay. We'll take 20 minutes, something like that.
Something like that, 20, 25.
Ooh.
As you like.
Do I have that much staying power?
20 is fine. 20 is fine.
20 is fine. Yeah, I can handle it. I'm sure I have that much power left.